What's going on YouTube? It's Mike here. Today guys, in this video, I'm going to be showing you my top iOS 7 Cydia tweaks for 2014. Now, if you guys didn't know, iOS 7 is a complete redesign of the whole user interface of iOS and completely makes everyone's iOS devices look different. So, this jailbreak took a lot of time to be made and a lot of enhancements needed to be made within tweaks, themes, everything you could download from Cydia. So, today I figured I'd showcase my favorites. So first up, my favorite first tweak is JellyLock 7, and this is actually incorporated in the lock screen. You can see versus the slide to unlock, I have a little circle here at the bottom of my lock screen, and you see when I hold it down, I have quite a number of options. One of them is the camera app, messages, phone, Tweetbot, Spotify, music, and the unlock slider. And basically I take this little circle and I can move it on anything that I want to and just quickly open an app. It's kind of like a quick launch, and it's actually a lot like the tweak that came out last year for iOS 6 called Atom. Well, Atom isn't compatible with iOS 7, so if you do miss Atom, this is pretty much the exact same thing, just in a lower part of the lock screen, which, quite honestly, I like this a lot more than the previous one, which was Atom. This isn't made by the same creator, but it takes the same take on it, I guess you could say. So, for example, I just hover the little circle over here onto Tweetbot, and then you can set it where either you have to enter your passcode or you could bypass the passcode, and it will just quickly launch whatever app you need to be launched. And I think you have about a set of 5 that you can actually do. There's a ton of settings, preference panes that you get when you download the tweak. It is free from Cydia, which is pretty cool, and you could choose everything. You could choose all your settings in there. You could choose which app shortcuts you want and stuff like that. It's a very cool tweak, I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully they add some more enhancements to it in the future. I'd love to see some more things built into it. So my next top iOS 7 Cydia tweak is definitely going to have to be TinyBar, and this is the new iOS 7 version of Diet Bulletin. If you guys remember, Diet Bulletin was a tweak that you could install on your iOS 6 enabled device that would pretty much just put your notification bars on a diet. Well, since that's not compatible with iOS 7, another creator made TinyBar, which does the exact same thing, and actually you could change it to a ton of different sizes, which I don't remember if you could do that with Diet Bulletin. But so, for example, I'll just show you right here as a little test. So you could see it pretty much shortens the whole notification bar, makes it real small, because the current one takes up all of the space that really isn't necessary. And so I love how it just takes up the space of the status bar and nothing else. So it's kind of like not such a big deal when you get a notification. Let's say if you're in the middle of something. Now, while your device is in sleep mode, obviously this won't matter. However, if you're just using your device and maybe someone is texting you, it doesn't get that much in the way. It just covers up the status bar. Very cool tweak, and for free, I definitely recommend it too. So my next top iOS 7 Cydia tweak is definitely going to have to be Springtomize 3. Now, if you guys remember, I have done a individual tweak review of Springtomize, and I think that was back when Springtomize 2 came out, and pretty much it's a tweak, it is paid by the way, that lets you edit your entire iOS from animations to the app slider to control center, dock, folders, icons, lock screen, pages, and status bar. So some of the edits that I've done is I've completely gotten rid of my icon labels. I've given kind of every icon that you see a cover flow effect. I don't know how well you guys could notice that. I've made my icons in my dock 5, and a ton of cool stuff like that. I also changed my time at the top to Mike Cronin, but I don't know why it's not there. So you could do a lot of things with it. You could pretty much modify your whole iOS without downloading so many separate tweaks that do separate things. It's kind of all built into one. It's an all built-in iOS system editor. Very cool tweak. I've been using it since I think Springtomize 1 came out, and Springtomize 3 is compatible with iOS 7, which is nice, so you could now edit all of those strings and settings and little tweaks on your device that you've always wanted to. And it's really something to play around with. That's what I do all the time. There's so many different settings and options to configure, and you could just make your device kind of adjust to you. So the next tweak I want to talk about is a tweak called Eclipse. Now this is completely new. This has not been remastered or anything. This is a completely new tweak that is now offered in Cydia for I think about $1, which is completely worth it. And if you haven't noticed already, my whole settings app here is completely black, which it probably should be white, and you're right, it should. However, what Eclipse does, it completely blackens out your entire system's UI from that not so great looking eye blinding white, which was just defaulted in iOS 7 every frickin' app now is completely white, and you could change that with this app. And a lot of third-party apps are doing that now too, where they're offering night mode, since this white is just so eye-blinding. One, for example, Tweetbot 3 or even eBay, which I use both those apps very frequently, and I use night mode on both of them, which is honestly fantastic. So I'm glad that a tweak like this finally came out, because quite honestly, I really like the darker UI over the lighter one. And so you have a ton of different little settings here that you could do. You know, you can enable an orange tint, which will change everything like orange, the buttons and stuff. And you can also darken UI views, so every app that you have on your phone or iPad, whatever it is, it will be completely darkened, even if it's a third-party app that has not been sort of optimized by this tweak. It'll just work. And you can even blacklist some apps, because some don't work the best with this tweak. For example, Instagram doesn't work the best. There are some buttons here and there you could see that are just whited out, and then there's some lines all over the place and stuff. And there even are some glitches too. You can see I could scroll all the way up here, and I have this little blank space on my Instagram profile page. There are some glitches built into the tweak, which was kind of a letdown for me and a disappointment, but there are some great aspects of it as well when it is fully working to its full potential. For example, if I'm composing a new message in here, or I won't go into my personal message or anything, but when you're actually inside of your messages, it does look very nice. And like I said, there are some glitches here and there, and apps do need a lot more compatibility by this tweak that'll need to be added later on by the developer. However, I picked out this tweak because I really wanted to give the developers of this tweak a lot of credit, because it has a fantastic concept, and it has a lot, and I mean a lot of potential to become a very, very popular tweak offered by Cydia, because a lot of people are starting to really like this dark UI type of concept. I know I do especially, so I definitely want to see a lot more from this developer. And even though it's not the best right now, and it's kind of, I guess you could say, sort of in beta stages, I'm definitely going to hang on to it and just keep downloading new updates, because honestly, it's going to be a keeper, trust me. The next tweak I want to talk about is Zeppelin, which I'm sure many of you know of. If you don't, where have you been? I'm just kidding. But it's a very popular jailbreak tweak that's available for free in Cydia, and I give it credit because it's recently been optimized for iOS 7. It was actually one of the first tweaks to be optimized for iOS 7. Pretty much, it just changes your carrier from the standard AT&T, Verizon, whatever you might have, to a picture that you could download different packs from in Cydia. You probably aren't going to see a lot on this list, since I am using the dark UI that came from Eclipse. However, as you can see here, I have two installed ones that I downloaded from my friend actually that offered these packs. I do happen to be a sneakerhead, and I collect some shoes with me and my friends, like Jordans, LeBrons, and stuff like that. So one of my favorite shoes is the Dornbecker 4, the Air Jordan Dornbecker 4 Retro, and I have that as my little carrier there. And it's honestly one of my favorite shoes. It's one of my grail shoes, I guess you could say, for those of you sneakerheads that understand what I'm talking about at least. It's one of my favorite pairs of shoes. You could see up in the top left corner that I do have it just kind of sitting there, and I really do like it. If you want to go ahead and get this, like let's say you're a Dornbecker shoe fan, if you guys know what I'm talking about, of course, you could go ahead and check out my Twitter. His Twitter is, I think, at sauce_movement, and he will give you his personal repository for you to go and access his personal pack with all of these cool Jordans. The next tweak I want to talk about is BytaFont number 2. Now, a lot of you are aware of what BytaFont number 1 is, and that is a tweak that allows you to change your entire system's user interface of text. And as you can see, you probably have already seen throughout my entire user interface on my phone, it's got like this weird handwriting type of font, and I've actually been using this font since last year's iOS 6 jailbreak. It's called Complete in Him, and BytaFont 2 was actually recently optimized for iOS 7. They actually came out with a whole new app called BytaFont 2. It was originally just BytaFont, and they optimized each and every text, each and every font from the original ones, so like each one had to be updated, which is kind of interesting to see. And Complete in Him was one of the many. There's like thousands of them now, but I remember when there was like 30, 40 that had first been optimized, so it's crazy to see all of them optimized now. So I definitely recommend it if you want to change your whole system's font. If you want to say, obviously you can't really tell here on my home screen since I have my icon labels missing. But it works across the whole system UI. You can see here that I have my list of tweaks I wanted to talk about in this video notes. It works literally through everything, and Complete in Him is definitely my favorite font too if you want to go check it out. People ask me all the time. And my last favorite tweak on iOS 7, my top iOS 7 Cydia tweak, the last one for this video, is going to have to be Barrel, a favorite of all viewers. If you haven't noticed already, that when I turn my pages, they kind of curl and roll away. That's actually exactly what this type of gesture is called. A lot of you already know what Barrel are. I reviewed it in my top tweaks last year, and I figured I'd do it again this year because I also wanted to give Barrel credit for being optimized for iOS 7. I know I'm saying a lot about tweaks being optimized for iOS 7, which may not seem like a big thing. However, it pretty much is, because like I said, you know, they had to completely redo everything since iOS 7 was a complete redesign and reform of the entire iOS. Now, Barrel really hasn't changed itself. There are still all of the gestures, you know. Another one of my favorites is page zoom. I'll go ahead and hit my home button. There's no respring required. You could just change your gesture of your page movement. And I've been using Barrel for several years now. One of the original tweaks on this list that I've ever had. So definitely recommend it. Go check it out. I think it's like $1.99 in Cydia. Like I said, I've had it for years. Still, one of my most favorite tweaks ever. I love it. Just provides some personality to your device. And so that's pretty much it. That's my top iOS 7 Cydia tweaks of 2014. By the way, if you guys were wondering what theme I'm currently rocking on my iPhone, these icons right here, this is the Aura theme, which is available from Cydia, enabled with WinterBoard, of course, which is also updated for iOS 7, giving Jay Freeman a lot of credit on that one too, as well as ClassicDock, which you can't really tell since I have 5 icons and cover flow enabled, but I am running the ClassicDock from iOS 6. You probably actually can't tell at all in this video. But if you want to go check it out, you can. If you don't like that boxy one that they include with iOS 7, I do recommend ClassicDock. It offers, if you're not going to use the Aura theme, it offers the exact same dock as you'd get in iOS 6. You can kind of build on that with an iOS 6 theme from WinterBoard as well. And like I said, I'm also using the Complete in Him system font. If you guys were also wondering, I stated that earlier in the video. Just figured I would again in case you guys want to have your device looking like mine, because I think it looks pretty cool right now. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please leave some comments down below on your thoughts. Of course, rate, give this video a thumbs up, and click the subscribe button below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.